Good day and welcome to the Red Corner Show. I'm Shamila Ramjawan, a global award-winning entrepreneur, founder of the Princess D Menstrual Cup, the Olympus International Awards, and the Red Corner Show. This year, as usual on the show, we will showcase people that have made significant contributions in various fields, willing to share their stories. We are thrilled to introduce our guest, Erin Kirsten Govender from South Africa. With a deep dedication to teaching and student development, Erin has gained experience working in various educational settings, from assisting with university registrations to teaching at primary schools and Sunday schools. Currently, she is expanding her expertise as a curriculum developer at Accelerated Education Enterprises. Beyond education, Erin is a motivational speaker with a growing presence on TikTok and Instagram, where she inspires and uplifts audiences. She dreams of launching her own podcast to continue spreading motivation and positivity. Her mission is to empower others through education and personal growth. Hello, Erin. Welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate this amazing opportunity.
I think I'm going to have so much fun talking to you because, with the academic background and talking to someone in
Yes.
the field, I think, I want to really hear all about you and how you're going to inspire the audience. So we're going to start with your background and education.
Mhm.
You've got an impressive academic background in education and psychology. So what
Yeah.
inspired you to pursue a career in teaching and educational psychology?
So when I was little, I was actually diagnosed with ADHD. And along with that, I also have had a learning disability, which means that I was slower in learning. So I would always take longer to actually grasp a concept, whereas a, a normal student would just grasp it in like maybe 20 minutes or 10 minutes. I take probably an hour to do it. And I would actually like to hand it out to my mom because she is such an inspiration. She's so amazing. And she is actually the one that she never gave up on me despite having ADHD and having a learning disability. She always stood by my side. She motivated me. And like whenever I would get a report, my reports weren't the greatest. And whenever it was report card day, she would get my report, and then I would be so scared for my results. But my mom would just look at it and she'll be like, Erin, you can do better. Just believe in yourself. And now look where I am. So it's really because of my mom that I am where I am. And she is definitely the inspiration to for the reason why I did decide to education and also in my knowledge on psychology, because I want to be someone who my mom was to me, someone who believed in me, because no one believed in me, but my mom believed in me, and she is the reason why I am where I am today. So I want to be that for future generation kids.
Wow,
Yeah.
awesome. Well, Mom, if you're watching, thank you for what you did and what you're doing. Okay, so Erin, you've obtained multiple qualifications, TEFL, teaching English as a foreign language, and early childhood development. Why? Why TEFL and why ECD? And how has these additional certifications shaped your approach to education?
So the reason why I chose TEFL and ECD is to really expand my knowledge and to actually go into an international space as well, because TEFL has become so renowned now globally. And even to go overseas, TEFL is one of the requirements. So it's definitely one of the reasons is to just expand my knowledge. I did education at UKZN, and I specialized in senior FET. So with senior FET, we learned about the theories and the methods on how to actually teach the students, and the different types of strategies that we use in order to make them learn a concept. Whereas with ECD and TEFL teaching, we learned how to get creative, because you're teaching smaller kids, and with smaller children, you need to make it fun and easy for them to learn. So it definitely expanded my knowledge in just the way I should go about teaching and how to actually make it memorable for kids. Because, I mean, you're not going to really listen to a teacher who's boring in class. Okay, you're just gonna probably zone out. Whereas if a teacher makes it fun and interesting for you to learn, then you are going to remember. And that's what ECD and TEFL teaching has definitely taught me. It's how to make a hard concept easier for a learner to grasp.
Absolutely. So I'm going to put you on the spot here. Any plans of leaving South Africa?
Um, it's definitely one of my plans, because I do want to actually study further for my master's and doctorate. And that is something that I do want to do overseas. So it's definitely a part of my plan. Yeah.
Hey, awesome. Well, as you know, I'm in Cambodia at the moment, talking to you with the 5 hour difference in time. So, so yes, I think it's worth the experience,
Mhm.
but I must say I miss South Africa. I really do. That will always be home, home number one.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
but yes, back and forth, South Africa, and also it's my teaching as well that has taken me
Mhm.
abroad. And I love what I do. So yes, just go for the experience. And if you don't like it, then you go back home, right?
Yeah, I mean, what's better than to know that you can go home, you know?
Yes,
So, yeah.
yes. So so you've had these diverse teaching experiences from working at a university and to teaching Sunday school. How do these different environments shape your perspective on education? I'm sure there's a vast difference. I know you spoke about little kids and with the ECD, and these days we actually encourage our students to have fun in the classroom because we want to make learning fun. Otherwise, they're going to get bored or they're not going to pay attention. Okay, so we bring in all
Mhm.
these amazing tools that we learn and further our education with, and we put it into practice in the classroom. So tell me about these different environments.
So at DUT, Durban University of Technology, I was a uh, registration assistant. So with that, there wasn't teaching involved. It was more of assisting students with their registration. And one thing I remember was, even when I was in university, first year, you are absolutely stressed about registration, because first of all, you don't know what modules to even register for. You don't know what is even going on. You don't know how to even, I mean, you do know how to operate a computer, but somehow because you're so stressed, you don't know how to anymore. So definitely what I noticed during that period was that when it came to the first year students, you had to really help them because they also came with their parents. And their parents were as equally stressed as those university students. And what I would do in those types of situations was I would just walk them through the whole process, even if it means you operating the computer that's in front of them. You just show them how you're doing it, how you're registering for their modules. And once they know that the registration part is over, they're not so stressed anymore. And then as for the second year onwards students, they just know, like, once they go into the computer lab, they know what they're doing, and it's such an easier process for them. They're not stressed or anything. They have been on that rodeo many times. So you don't really worry about them. It's mainly the first year students. As for Sunday school teaching, so with South Africa, we do the CAPS curriculum. So that's, I mean, teaching in a normal school compared to teaching in Sunday school. With Sunday school, you're obviously teaching students about the Bible and the Bible stories and learning all of these various character traits about God and how you're supposed to be a good Christian. So what I have personally learned from teaching Sunday school is that every lesson students need to walk out knowing that they learned a lesson about God. And that's also something that I would take in with my teaching as well, because students need, whenever they go into a classroom, they need to learn something. They need to grasp a certain concept. So you need to make sure that students learn something every time they go into your classroom. So definitely with the way I teach at Sunday school is completely different to the way you teach at high school or even just any school, but you just need to make sure that students are walking out of that classroom with a lesson that is learned, with a new concept that is learned, with a new character trait, so yeah.
Okay. So what also got me from your bio was curriculum development. So you're doing that currently at Accelerated Education Enterprises. So can you take me through that? What have you learned from the experience, and how does that work in your space?
So with the curriculum development, how I use my degree in curriculum development is actually having all of this vast knowledge about CAPS and what you're supposed, and the different content you're supposed to have for all of the CAPS document, for all of the CAPS subjects. Okay, so you have your English, your Afrikaans, LO. I mean, there's so many other subjects, I can't name them all right now, but yeah. So the thing with Accelerated Education Enterprises is that they do, they first started off with the American curriculum, and then they just recently expanded on doing CAPS as well. So they make these different paces and stuff. So I review those, I review the pre-existing ones, and what I'm supposed to do is kind of improve on it, make sure that there's no errors in any of the textbooks that are created by them. And what I learned from doing all of those various subjects that I have for those different grades is that education can be fun if you let it be fun. Like, take a subject like business studies. Business studies has so much of content. It is such a content-heavy subject, but it can be fun if teachers allow it to be fun, by giving examples that are more related to the Gen Z generation. And just by doing, like, I wouldn't say making jokes, but kind of making relatable, fun jokes for them to learn a certain concept, or just for them to remember something as simple as it can be. So to make it as simple as it can be, sorry. But definitely what I have learned from doing revisions for accelerated Christian education is that learning can be fun. I mean, even maths. I never thought maths could be fun until I went and I reviewed the maths curriculum, the maths textbooks, and I was like, oh my goodness. I even told the lady who developed the maths textbooks, like, you did an amazing job. To every student who's going to read those books, you made a big difference, because they will realize that maths can be fun if you let it be fun. So, yeah.
So you talk about CAPS, and we have a global audience, and I know CAPS is practiced in South Africa. So do
Mhm.
you want to tell the audience what CAPS is?
So CAPS is it's a South African curriculum. It's curriculum and assessment
Curriculum and
policy.
policy statement, yeah.
Yes, curriculum assessment policy statements. So they have their documents is it has different for each subject. They have a breakdown on what um, your your different subjects are supposed to have. So it will have all of the content that they are supposed to learn. So the different headings, what they're supposed to learn for each term as well. So for schools, you know that you have 4 terms. So for different terms, they have the layout, what they're supposed to learn in each term, all the assessments that they are supposed to do, the exams they are supposed to write. So, and also they have a breakdown of the learning outcomes that each subject is supposed to have. So what they're supposed to learn for every year for that subject. So yeah, that's what CAPS is.
Awesome. Yes. So it's very standardized. So to the audience
Yeah.
out there, if you're wondering what CAPS is, I think Erin gave a really nice description. So, so Erin, just on your motivational speaking and social media, so you have a strong passion for motivational speaking, and you share content on TikTok and Instagram. What message do you hope to convey through your content, or what are you conveying at the moment?
That in this journey called life, no one is alone. I mean, we all feel so alone in this world, and we all feel like we are going through something that no one has ever gone through. But in reality, we all go through similar things, similar experiences. It might be at different stages in our lives, but we all go through similar stuff. And I just want people to know out there that you're not alone. We all go through something. We all feel down. We all feel like a failure at some point in our lives. We all feel like we can't achieve anything. But I want to be that person, that big sister to them and just say, hey, you're not alone. You're going to get through whatever you need to get through. You're going to achieve everything that you set yourself out to achieve, everything that you told yourself that you want to accomplish in life. You can achieve it. You just need to not give up, and you need to not feel so alone. So that's one of the big reasons why I actually decided to do motivational speaking.
Love that. I really love that, and that's such great advice. For people out there, never give up.
Mhm.
If you fail, you try again, and that's how it should
Absolutely.
be. Yes, you shouldn't have that in your vocabulary. Do not give up, right? Um,
Yeah.
yes, and we know that a lot of people turn to social media for inspiration. So having that voice and attracting the audience with the right content, I'm sure you're going to do really well. So just balancing what's relatable and authentic, and just delivering your motivational content. So, can you give me an example?
Uh, so I actually did a motivational video today, and I basically, so with my motivational videos, I try to be as authentic to my viewers as I can possibly be. Because with the social media, with the Instagram, everyone posts things about their lives, but sometimes it's not reality. Like sometimes they'll post, okay, I'm going for a holiday, and you can see that they're having an amazing time. And I mean, not saying that it's not true, but there's a lot of fake stuff that people can put online. And what I try to do is I try to be as authentic with my viewers as I possibly can be. So with, like, for example, today I did my motivational video and I told them that nothing is impossible. You just have to believe in yourself, because you will always achieve everything that you set your goals on if you just don't give up, if you just believe in yourself. I mean, one of the biggest um factors when it comes to not giving up on your goals and just being, I wouldn't say motivated, but just to keep on going, keep on pushing as much as you can. One of the biggest things is that you need to be disciplined. You know, motivation can only get you so far in life. You know, there's days where you wouldn't give your 100%. You might give only 10%. You might give only 30%. But determination and just wanting to being disciplined, that is the big thing. You know, you have to be disciplined in just waking up every day, even something as simple as going to the gym. Okay, like a lot of people wouldn't, they'll be like, oh my goodness, I'm too sore, or oh no, it's leg day, they don't want to go. But the fact that you want what's best for yourself, the fact that you want to be healthy, you want to look your best, you want to have that perfect body for you to post on Instagram, that is determination on its own, you know? So you need to be determined. You need to be willing to wake up every single day of your life and just go about doing life, you know, and just putting yourself first and achieving all of your goals, because at the end of the day, you know, this life is only about us. It's not about another person. You can't live for someone else. You have to live for yourself. So I mean, why not spend it living your dream life, you know? So that's one of my motivational things that I
That is,
do try to spread.
that is great. You know, I always tell people as well, well, I'm quite a motivational speaker myself, but you know, I always tell people you start with believing yourself and you love yourself first, you know, before you look out.
Mhm.
And start talking to yourself, you know, as silly as it may sound, but when you start talking to yourself, you sort of relate in many ways as to what your life is about and what you want for yourself. So
Yeah.
I like that you brought in discipline and also sacrifices. I think sacrifices is a
Mm.
key thing. And a lot of people don't want to take that extra step and make those sacrifices because we only have 24 hours in a day. And it's how you manage your
Mhm.
time effectively that is important.
Yes.
And it says a lot about an individual. And, you know,
Mhm.
I will just take myself for example. If you look at the amount of stuff that I juggle in a day, and it's possible, you know. So I cannot understand when people say I do not have the time for the gym or I do not have the time to read a book. You can read a page a day, you know, but you make
Yes.
an
Absolutely.
attempt. And
Mm.
so there's so many things that you can actually talk and talk to people about and be that role model and be that voice and
Mhm.
them along because people are
Yeah.
going through the most. You know, a lot of people will go on social media and you think that they're having the best lives ever, but deep down inside, they are going through a lot of trauma and stress, and they don't show it on social media. So, yes, being authentic. Um,
Mhm.
just be yourself, believe in yourself, and love yourself more. So, you know, I
Yeah.
always want to give those takeaways. But you also mentioned your podcast. So, your podcast will be related to what you've just said, right?
Yes, absolutely. It's definitely going to be something where I want to create a space where people can feel comfortable to come on and listen to me, you know, and just to like basically have like this big sister person who can talk to you about problems and certain topics and certain issues that you have. So it's definitely going to be a more of an empowerment podcast and just a type of comfort podcast, basically. Yeah, that's something that I'm definitely achieving
Yes.
towards.
I think it's so important, especially, you know, if you look at my show, I started this during COVID. And to
Hmm.
date, you know, interviewed over 300 people. And
Hmm.
this is from across the globe. And it's people coming and sharing their stories. And maybe, you know, we might not have the audience right now where people watch it, but in 10 years or 5 years from now, people are going to get onto it and they're going to listen and watch and get some inspiration from it. And, you know,
Yes.
people like you that come on the show and share your journeys and your stories,
Mhm.
and you will inspire other people as well. So just sticking
Mhm.
to being an academic, like me,
Yes.
can you share a moment in your teaching journey that tested you and how you overcame it?
So there was actually this one time, it was during my teaching practice. And with teaching practice, you have your supervisor that comes to your class and they assess you on how you can manage the classroom and the discipline and everything. So this one time I had the most rowdiest class. That's the only way I can put it. The most rowdiest class on like in that grade. And I remember I went into that classroom, my lecturer was sitting at the back, and I taught. So normally when I teach, they stay quiet. But once I turn my back to the board and you're writing and everything, and once the teacher turns the back, everyone just starts talking. All the students start talking and everything. So what I did was I wrote a little on the board. I would teach and I'd write so that the discipline would just, it will show that I know how to manage discipline. So, and how to like actually manage a classroom. So that's how I actually handled that whole situation. And I was so scared. I was so stressed that day because I knew that that was definitely one of the worst classes. But yeah, like that's one of the reasons how that's one of the ways, sorry, I managed to combat discipline in my classroom with that class. So yeah.
Yes, when you talk about teacher and student evaluations, it can become so overwhelming, especially for us as teachers, right? So with me being here, I'm in one of Southeast Asia's best, well, it is the best accounting and finance institution, the university that I'm teaching in at the moment. And so we have like really, really brilliant accounting and finance students because these are the students that become chartered accountants. They go into auditing and finance and across the globe, for the big four like PwC and EY, etc. And so the rule in our university is that we have every semester, so we have 2 semesters a year. So every semester we have a teacher evaluation. Uh, and every semester we have 2 student evaluations. So at the beginning of the semester, after the third session, we have a student evaluation. And then towards the end of the semester, uh, the I would say not the last, but towards the last week, we have another student evaluation. And that can be overwhelming because you have to get a certain grade to actually continue teaching in the institution. It's
Oh
actually
my
quite
god.
crazy. Yes, it's quite crazy. But yeah, I think you're there to do a job and you do the best that you can. And
Yes.
it is really overwhelming, especially when the students have to evaluate you on your teaching. So are you making a
Hmm.
difference? Are you making an impact? So yeah. So just back on you, what advice would you give to aspiring educators who want to make a real difference in their students' lives?
um the advice that I would give to them is to make sure that their classroom is a safe and secure environment for their students, and just an environment that's friendly, that cultivates learning. And because the reason why I say this is because students come from different backgrounds, they, in terms of religion, in terms of culture, you get various students from all, I wouldn't say all walks of life, but just from different homes. And I mean, at the end of the day, you don't know what students go through in their own personal space. So I would say that for teachers, if they want to really make a difference in their students' lives or just impact a class, they need to make sure that their classroom is a safe and secure environment for their students, so that, I mean, if they want to talk to their teachers about a problem that they have, they know that they can go to that teacher because that teacher has created this friendly, safe, and secure environment for them not to just learn, but for them to just be authentic and be themselves. So that's the
Yeah.
advice I would give. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. Yes. So just sticking on your future goals and aspirations, again, I'm going to put you on the spot, right? If you could change one thing about the education system, what would it be and why?
I love this question. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So, things that I would change is that every school needs to have a psychologist and a nurse. One, like both. They need to have both. They need to have a psychologist and a nurse. A nurse, because students get sick. They fall down at school, and unfortunately, a secretary is not going to help. They don't have the medical training in order for them to bandage a wound, or they can't give medication to the students either because they're not a nurse. They don't have the medical license to do that. So I would say that definitely a nurse needs to be put in a school. Also a psychologist, and reason being is that students come from various backgrounds. You don't know what's going on in their home. These students are they some of these students, they definitely go through a lot, especially if the environment that they are in is a toxic environment. It's a toxic space for them. And students are not the type of people, learners are not the type of people who can open up so easily. So if every school provides a psychologist in their schools, students can go and they can talk about their problems to this person who doesn't really know much about them. I mean, one of the reasons they actually say that people are more comfortable talking to a stranger about their problems than a family member or their friend. So I would say that a psychologist and nurse will definitely impact schools greatly because it's definitely going to help with the students getting injured or sick, or even if they're going through something and things that go on in their lives, it definitely affects not just their behavior, but it also affects their grades. So those are the things that I would change in the education system.
Yes. I also want to add because, as an educator myself, I actually studied the NLP course and I'm now doing student counseling, etc. And I think it's so important that teachers should further their education as well. Just don't stop where you are, but rather further your education. There's so many courses that you can do to upskill yourself and work with the students, especially when it comes to emotional intelligence. I think it's so important.
Mhm.
And like you mentioned as well, just a bit of counseling where students have the freedom to talk and know that they can trust a person as well.
Yeah.
So Erin, it was so nice talking to you. But before we go, I know we're running out of time. What's next for you? Any exciting projects or goals you're working on? Do you want to share with us?
So, one of the goals is definitely to start my podcast. This is the reason why I'm trying to grow my TikTok account and I'm trying to grow my Instagram as well. So it's definitely one of my projects. I'm not sure when it's going to happen, but it's to launch my podcast. And I've definitely thought about names. And one of the names that I thought about was With Love from Erin. So those are one of the titles that I'm currently working on. So, and also it's to study further. So I think I mentioned earlier that I do want to get my master's and my PhD done. And for some reason, I always wanted to do my master's in Denmark. Don't ask me why. It's always been my dream. And I want to do my PhD in Oxford. So I definitely want those things to happen. Definitely want those things to happen. So big dreams, something that I definitely should be working towards. Yeah, those are my future goals. I definitely do want to open a business in the future, hopefully. And that business is actually also related to education. It's about tutoring. So yeah, just getting a bunch of professional teachers to go around and tutor kids, whether it's online or in person, you know. So those are definitely the few projects that I am thinking about. So
Yeah.
yeah, and obviously overseas. So yeah.
Wow, wow, you have quite a tall list, but you know what? Use the tick box method and start ticking
Mhm.
off. But you'll get there, big goals, big dreams, and I'm sure you're going to achieve everything that you put your mind to. I mean, at my age, I'm still studying. My PhD is
Mhm.
in the examination stage right now with the examiners.
My goodness.
So done in 2 months. So yes, good luck on everything you put your heart and soul into, and I'm sure it's going to happen. Just make it happen and work towards it. And it was so nice chatting to you, Erin. And I hope that I'm a guest on your podcast.
Yes, of course, I have to have you.
Yeah, so
Yes.
thank you so much for sharing your story. And I'm sure you actually inspired lots of people out there. And do you have anything else to add before we go off?
Um, I would say to just keep on pushing, keep on moving forward, no matter what is going on in your life. Just keep on pushing. Don't, there are going to be days where you feel demotivated, but just remember your end goal. Remember why you started doing something, why you started to create your business, why you started studying. So I would say definitely keep on pushing, keep on moving forward, because at the end of the day, sky's the limit. You can achieve anything. So yeah.
The world is your oyster. Thank you so much, Erin. It was great having you on the show, and I wish you the best of luck. To the audience, thank you for watching, and I hope that I can also interview you on the show. So please drop me an email on redcornershow@gmail.com, and you too could be sharing your story with the rest of the world. Thank you so much, and all the best.
Thank you. Thank you.